feeling when you saw the show?
My first thought was this is going to be difficult. Just because the diversity and the quality of the artwork, I think, stands out.
Good.
I knew it's going to be, I think it's...
And those drawings that are by the door are pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Yes, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you first
Yeah,
walk in.
I absolutely agree with you. I find those eyes penetrating.
Yep.
Yeah.
And having seen this exhibit in previous years, this is definitely a very, very strong show.
Yeah, I agree.
I have to tell you that. You've made my day, week, year, whatever. That is so good to hear because honestly, those of us who set the show up all felt the same way. After it was set, we all said, holy cow, this is really good.
Yeah.
So nice to hear the judges sort of felt the same way.
It doesn't make the judging easy.
No.
No, it doesn't.
Well, no, and that's why we bring the professionals in.
Where?
Okay, so the show, what does the show mean to each of you? Having a show here in Watertown in the state office building, it's our 72nd year. What does that mean to you as people that deal with art and also create art?
It reminds me of when I was starting out as an artist, because I was older when I started out, and getting into a show was such a big thing to me, you know. And I don't do shows anymore, and I kind of miss it, you know. It's like, oh, that feeling of I've sent this in. When am I going to get that letter that either says yes or no?
Oh,
Or maybe you won something.
yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. It'll happen someday.
Yeah.
I think for me, I'm familiar with a number of the artists here, and it just creates such a good community of North Country artists. I love seeing, oh, I know her, or I know him, or this, and you can really see how artwork is progressing and how artists are coming into their own or exploring new mediums. And it's really inspiring to see all the new things coming out of artists that may have been around for a while.
Yeah, when you see somebody reach.
Yeah.
It's nice
yeah.
to see somebody reach.
Yeah, that is nice.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with the North Country Arts Council, and this is my first time judging this. So for me, it's really, doing things like this, it's just a learning experience. It's inspiration, not just from the artists, but also with fellow judges as well. I mean, I've learned listening to Scott and Marina. They have more of a formal art background than I do. So I learn a lot just by looking at the artwork, hearing their comments on it as well. So it's a great opportunity for me to, I'm an artist, so 99% of the time it's solo. It's just me and talking to myself. And so
Or the
to
dogs.
interact with
Listening.
yeah, exactly. But to listen to, interact with other artists, it doesn't happen very often.
Right.
And so to be part of the show, in a show like this is great, but also to be judging one is also a great learning experience for me.
What's your process for judging?
You want to go first?
No, you go first. You go first. Let me think for
So
a second.
two things for me, and we talked a little bit about this earlier, critiques. So I fall back to a critique and how critiques worked when I was in graduate school and what people said about artwork and how they described the things that were right or the things that were wrong, which you fall back on the elements of art, composition, contrast, things like that. And that, it lets you look at each piece with rather than, hey, would I hang this in my living room? And does the color match my couch? Which aren't two good ways to go about things.
Exactly.
I'd agree with that. Also, for pieces that have frames and matting, that plays a big role in the overall impact of a piece. So you can have a beautiful drawing, but the mat and the frame completely contrast, and now the whole overall effect is off. So for me, some of it has to do with how well the whole piece goes together.
And as artists, we always fall into that trap of we want this thing perfect, so we work on it to the last minute, and then it becomes an afterthought. The presentation, which should not be an afterthought, it should probably be the number one thing. And it quite often isn't, and not on purpose,
Yeah.
just a time problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I had this frame at home, so I'm just going to put it on there. But in the meantime, it's too warm for this piece, or the wood is completely distracting, or so that's one thing that pulls me in.
I think one thing I look for is just creativity and originality. If you're more familiar with the artist already, that can be easier. If something looks different from what they've done in the past. But even if you're not, even if you don't know anything about them, just seeing a piece that really stands out could be just an interesting watercolor that looks different from any other watercolor you've seen. The subject matter, just the way of presenting it. I think I place a high premium on something that just stands out just because it's, it's different. It's, again, it's something I really look for.
That's terrific. I think this feedback is great for our public to see. This video will be on our website, and I think they can look at it, watch it over and over again, and the specifics, while not being too specific, I think is really educational. And I thank all three of you for doing this. It was a long day. We really appreciate it. I know the artists appreciate it.
Thank
No, we
you.
get to pick one
Thanks.
for ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Which one do we get
Take
to?
one, right?
Goodbye.
Well, wait a minute.
Thank
All
you.
right.